Welcome everybody. This is just an introductory note to the course that you are registered for, the psychology course for semester 1. The code for the course is PSYC5121w and it's a 1A course, so it's a first semester course of 2023. My name is Rebecca Wakeford and I am your online tutor for this module, and it will be myself who you are engaging with over the next couple of months as we work our way through the course content and prepare for the assignment and the exams. So this is just a big welcome from me, and it's going to be really nice getting to know you over the time we have together. As I said, this is a welcome. Psychology is a very interesting discipline. I always say to my first year students, it's very much like a funnel. We start off very broad with the topics that are involved in the psychology modules in first year and second year, but each year the concepts and ideas narrow down and become more focused. But psychology is a very wide discipline that covers all sorts of things, from human development to the way we think, to abnormal behaviors, to personality, coping and stress, health psychology, and we cover all of those topics in our first year. And then, as I said, from the second year we start to narrow down and get a little bit more selective. So you will feel sometimes that you're bouncing around all over the place. Sometimes a module might be like a life science lesson talking about biology and the development of babies and children and adults. Other times it's a little bit like a maths lesson as we do some research and statistics, but it all pulls together, and you'll all see how it fits together as we head towards the end of the year and start to write our final assessments and exams. So for this quick introductory session, I'm just going to base it on the module outline that you should have received. If you haven't received the module outline, I have uploaded it for you. If you look on the left-hand side of your VC Learn for this module, you'll see a More Resources button. If you click on the More Resources button, you'll see information that I load for you, and under Course Resources, you will find the module outline. So if you haven't received it, I have uploaded it for you, and it is available for you under your More Resources folder. Just a note, the prescribed textbook for this year is by Wheaton and Ntozini. Okay, it's a 2022 book, so it's a new edition book. It was released last year, so the chances are you're not going to find it secondhand or find it from a student from last year, because we had the third edition last year, so you'll need to buy it from the required bookseller, which is Wise Books, or alternatively another book source. So please note that this is a new edition textbook, so you're not really going to be able to find it in a secondhand space. So just to advise you of that before you get too much further. The module outline really starts and it goes through what the objectives of the module are. Now remember, this is just a first semester module. When we get to the second semester module, there'll be additional module outcomes. But for the first semester, really the purpose of this module is to introduce you to the discipline of psychology, the role that nature and nurture play in our psychological development. We look at different biological structures and behavior and psychological processes, and it also introduces us to different related phenomena. So it's very much an introductory module covering a number of points. The module outcomes, that means that at the end of this particular module, these are the things that you should know. So the outcome number 1 of this module is you should be able to differentiate psychology as a science, because that's what it is, it's a science, by describing the nature and historical development of psychology as a discipline. The second module outcome is you should be able to identify and explain the nature and role of biological and environmental influences on human behavior. And the third module outcome is to be able to discuss and compare and apply given theories and perspectives in psychology to various psychological phenomena. So when we finish this module in June for the final exams, in the middle of the year, these are the things that you're going to be examining against, that you understand these different module outcomes. So it's just a guide for you so you know in which direction you're heading. The way that a semester is structured in terms of marks, because people always ask that question, is how are our marks calculated? Our marks are broken up into different component percentages. We have what we call ICE tasks, which are integrated curriculum engagement tasks. Those are small tasks and activities that are throughout your module. There are usually 4 of them that you have to complete, and they count 10% of your final mark for the semester. A bigger component comes from 2 assignments that you will have to do. Each assignment is worth 25% of your final mark. You take approximately 10 hours to do your assignments, and you will submit them on the given date by the given time. And for those assignments, you'll need to use the textbook that's prescribed, as well as doing additional research that we will discuss with you closer to the time. And the final exam, the take-home exam, is worth 40% of your mark. That exam you get released 24 hours before. I think you've got 21 hours to write it in. So you receive it, you have 21 hours to write it in, and you submit it, and it's generally an open book exam. The assignments, you have them well in advance, and you have a much longer time to prepare them for submission. So that's how your mark is structured. 10% for ICE tasks, 2 assignments at 25% each, so that's 50%, and the remaining 40% is based upon your take-home exam. So that's how your assessments are structured, and this is all from inside your module guide. So when you look at your module guide, it's all there for you. As I said to you, the ICE tasks, those are the integrated curriculum engagement tasks. I will tell you more about those ICE tasks when we have our first Collabs session, so don't worry about them now. And as I said, there'll be 4 of them, and they'll count for 10% of your final mark. The assignments we spoke about, there's 2, and as I said, they're worth 25% of your final mark. Our assignment due dates, and they're on your calendar, are the 3rd of April for assignment 1, and the 2nd of June for assignment 2. So assignment 1 will cover modules 1 and 2, which we would have covered by that time, and assignment 2 will cover modules 2, 3, 4, and 5, which we would have covered. Before each assignment, we do prepare you. We have a national support session where I'm the lead OT, and I will run through the questions and the paper with you to make sure everybody is on the same page. And we usually do that a week to 10 days before the assignment is due, and those dates will be communicated with you. So when you see the assignment, don't feel that you're on your own. We will spend time going through the assignment with you as part of what we call a national support session. Right, for this module, we work through 6 learning units. They're numbered 1 to 6. They're in your module outline. They're also, the learning units are on your VC Learn with additional resources and information for you. The first learning unit is called the Evolution of Psychology. The second one is around research methods. The third learning unit is on biology of behavior. The 4th learning unit is on sensory systems and perception. The 5th one is on states of consciousness, and the 6th one is on conditioning and learning. So you can see from there is how I say this module sort of starts off very broad like a funnel before we start to narrow down to specifics. So you can see with these topics, we do move across a number of dimensions, which is actually very interesting. It means that no learning unit is ever the same. And every time you start a new learning unit, it's like starting something from scratch, and lots of interesting material to learn. You'll see in your module outline, each learning unit is broken down, but very specifically, each learning unit has got specific learning outcomes. So like we had the module outcomes, which is what you need to know at the end of the module, each learning unit says to you at the end of this learning unit, these are the specific things that you need to know. And when you have those learning outcomes, that's really what you're assessed against. So for example, in our first learning unit 1, the first learning outcome is to be able to provide a comprehensive definition of psychology, which then means in your assignment or in your exam, the question could be, provide a detailed description of the definition of psychology. So it's actually telling you what you need to be clear about when you finish that particular learning unit, that you've got those learning outcomes down off pat, and that you know that you can actually fulfill the requirements of each of those learning outcomes. But for each session we have, I'll go through the specific learning outcomes with you so that they're clear when we start the module. We have Collab sessions. That's where you and I meet up. They're online sessions. They're not individual sessions. We do them as a group. I'll send you a link to the Collabs session. They'll run every 2 weeks. And we start our first one on Monday, the 13th of March. And our sessions will always be on a Monday. They'll be on every second Monday. And they run from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And that's where I go through. I don't cover the textbook word for word. I look at the important concepts in the textbook, and I make sure that you understand them and can explain them so that we can meet the outcomes of what is needed for us to be able to know. The sessions, I do record them, and the recordings will be uploaded after the session takes place. However, I really do suggest that you try to attend the sessions, because it's your opportunity to engage with me directly and with your peers, and to really, if you're experiencing difficulties in subject matter, it's where you can ask questions and we can discuss answers and make sure we're all on the same page. So the learning unit, when I teach or when I get to the tutorial for the learning unit, I do expect that you've gone through the material beforehand. This is not like a university lecture where I teach you the material from scratch. The responsibility of going through the material is yours. You are the distance student. You've got the textbook, you've got the notes, and you've got resources at your disposal. When it comes to me as a tutor, my objective is to support you in understanding the content that you have already engaged with. Okay, so you don't take my notes or my Collabs as lectures that you can take down word for word and you can cite. That's not the case. The case is that I'm here to help you and to go through the more complicated matters in the material so that you have a good understanding. So it really is a point of engagement between you and me and the material that you might find challenging. So please be prepared for the Collab sessions and read your work in advance. Okay, the other thing I really need you to focus on is the research and the referencing. At this stage, when we're at university and we're starting a degree, we need to be able to research and we need to be able to reference correctly. And it is a fundamental skill of psychology. All of your work that you submit needs to be cited correctly and referenced correctly. In psychology, we make use of the APA, which is the American Psychological Association referencing guide. So if you've used Harvard in the past before or a different referencing system, that's not the case with psychology. It's the one discipline where we have our own referencing guide and we use the 7th edition. Under your More Resources folder that is created for you, there is a link there called Referencing Guides, and I have put a number of referencing guides there for you. As you log into your VC Learn and onto your platform, it also gives you some referencing guides. The Purdue Online Writing Lab is fantastic. It tells you exactly what APA is, and it gives you guidance as to how to cite and reference documents. And as you've been told in your orientation sessions, the VC librarian is there to assist you. So at any point in time, if you are unsure about the referencing, you make an appointment to see her. She is incredibly helpful and will guide you. So don't fear the referencing. It might be a little bit daunting at first, but once you start to get the hang of it and we start to move through, it does become much easier, and there are multiple tools available to guide you. But I can't stress enough how even up front at the beginning of the module, you spend some time looking at what APA referencing is, look at how it differs from referencing that you've done in the past, because we are very strict about referencing, about paraphrasing correctly, about citing correctly, and not plagiarizing. So it's one thing you guys need to be quite sharp about. Okay, so what next? Basically, I will see you on Monday, the 13th of March at 6 o'clock for our first Collab session. I think the first week for you, as we've been instructed, is for you guys to spend some time settling in and finding out what's what and where's where and where to find things. But in preparation for the 13th of March, what I ask you to do, please, is to read chapter 1 of the prescribed textbook, which is on the evolution of psychology. If you've got time, which you should have, is to work through the material that's provided for you under Learning Unit 1 on VC Learn. Take some time, please, to research as much as you can and read about APA 7th edition so that you're comfortable with that referencing style. And the more you engage with it, the more comfortable you will become. And start to prepare any questions that you'd like to ask me. I'm always available to you via email. My email address is there at the bottom. If you look on your VC Learn, it's got contact your lecturer. There's my email address, rwakeford@iieconnect.ac.za. I would ask you please to allow me 24 hours to respond to your queries. Obviously, I have more than one group. I've got more than one module, so I can't get to everybody at the same time. So just allow me 24 hours, 48 hours if it's over weekends. And please, when you communicate with me, please always put your module code on your emails. And if you're in a group, either group 1 or group 2, put that on too. So I know which material you're talking about. If you've got a question about an assignment, I know which group you're in. I know where to find your grade center and things like that. So it always is just helpful, please, to pop that in. So that, I hope, is a brief introduction. From now, once you read this or listen to this introductory session, you are welcome to pop me an email. If you've got any problems or any concerns, you're unsure about anything, you're having a problem with something, please, you're welcome to try and contact me. If it's a problem about registration, about logins and things like that, then please ask Logger VC support query. But any concerns about the module itself or the content, you're welcome to get hold of me. So I wish you the best of luck for starting off, and I look forward to seeing you on the 13th of March at 6 o'clock. Take care, everybody.